Hello and good morning, everyone. Welcome to this week's new episode of Breakfast with Boom. I'm your host, Mr. BoomStick XL, and I want to thank everybody for moving once again over to Thursday morning instead of Friday. Unfortunately, tomorrow I'm going to be stuck at the dealer pretty much the entire day, and hopefully I'll get done quick and at least before Boxenberger's show starts at 2 p.m. Eastern, because I'm supposed to guest on his show right along with not only Boxenberger, because it's his show, but of course N64 Josh. But today, again, we have some great topics. We have some really interesting and perplexing topics. We have a very special guest making his return appearance to Breakfast with Boom, Mr. Badbit, brother. How the heck are you?
Hello. Oh, I forgot to ask. My mic sound good? My
It
mic
sounds
all right?
fantastic.
That's great. Then I'm doing fantastic. Boom. Today we got the state of play that I can't wait to see what's there. We got PSVR 2. We got third party stuff. I'm excited, man.
Diablo
it's
Immortal.
Good time for
Diablo Immortal, Joe. Don't forget.
Diablo. I have not downloaded that yet. I will though.
You know, it's a shame. I want to play it. I've seen everyone. Jez Corden, of course. John Wolf been talking about it. Everyone's been posting. It looks phenomenal. Mrs. Boomstick is a huge fan of it. Here's the problem: it's not on console. What a miss! What a miss! A free to play game of that stature stuck behind a screen the size of your phone or a tablet or your pewter. We're not playing these games on. We own consoles. Release it on the console or we riot. But that's right. That's a horse for another.
One day, I think that it has Xbox controller support. So, maybe that's not impossible.
Well, I mean, listen, you just never know listen, these companies, they love money, right? Listen, they love money. They love money so much so that they could do that. But let's welcome back in John Wolf. John, how the heck are you, brother?
Morning, everyone. Nice pleasure to be here back on the show. Sorry that I missed last week, Boom, and to all the to all the listeners. But I'm back this week, pulling double duty here at work, and looking forward to all the topics we're going to be covering today, Boom. I read over them, and they're fire topics, man. Great job as always, Boom, putting these things together. Crispy. It's nice to be on the panel with you again, sir. How you doing today?
No, I'm doing great. How about you, man?
Good, buddy. Good. And Fuzzy, as always, and Web Dave. I know that you had a little dental procedure there, so you're off camera. WD, I hope you're doing well there. And yeah, man, looking forward to the topics and contributing to the conversation, guys.
Yeah. Well, we can't wait to get that done. Crispy Bomb, obviously, I think I saw you last night on, of course, Primetime Gaming. How the heck are you?
Oh, good. Rare Thursday off, Boom. Like I never get Thursday off, and it just so happens you switched to Thursday this week. So look at that. Once again, the stars align, and great to be here. Got my coffee. I am raring to go. We got some great topics to get into.
Yeah, appreciate that, brother. Yeah, I'm going to be everyone in the chat. We got we got almost 100 people here already, which is amazing. I will be reaching out to you, each and every one of you, as I always do once we get the show started. But let's continue. Fuzzy, how are you, man? I saw you once again having a problem with GT7, man. Wow, that is your arch nemesis, if you will.
Yeah, they did an update which did away with the easy money grind that a lot of people were enjoying, but it's still fun. It's just that the AI now seem like they're on a wreck fest. But
yeah, you were saying that they're basically just it becomes bumper cars.
Yeah. But other than that, I'm doing good, and man, we got some awesome topics. We got an awesome panel here today. Can't wait to get to it, man. Let's do this.
Yeah, absolutely. And Web Dave, brother, thank you so much for still hanging out after your situation that you had to deal with this morning. But it's great to have you here. Can't wait to get your opinion on some of the topics.
Oh, thank you, sir. Thank you. I wouldn't miss this show, man. There's nothing going to keep me from here. That's all I'm saying. Ready to go. Let's do it.
Yeah, well, you know what? Let's get into a hot topic. Xbox Game Pass is a hot topic. What's that?
No, it's just saying, here we go.
Oh yeah, here we go. Indeed, absolutely. Well, Pure Xbox is a website. PureXbox.com is a website that I frequent. I happen to like the way that they write their pieces. They are critical, like myself, when needs are called for. They're also very supportive, as I am with Microsoft. And look, we've said this before. I'm going to say it again. There's been some up and down weeks with Xbox for the most part. they're having a good year. Obviously, the year started with the ABK deal that really that just shocked the entire world as we know it. And then I've had a couple of stumbles. Obviously, all of us are still reeling from the Starfield and Redfall delay. It's fine. It is what it is. But we do have some new information on what is potentially coming to Xbox Game Pass this year, this June 12th, which of course, obviously, is going to be the June 12th show for Xbox and Bethesda. And according to Pure Xbox, they said in their press release or in their article, Xbox Game Pass will be getting more surprises in June 2022, according to the new article from Pure Xbox. And it says this: we were treated earlier this week to a new batch of Xbox Game Pass editions for June of 2022. But you may have noticed that the list stopped at June 7th rather than around the middle of the month, which is normal fare for Xbox Game Pass. And that's probably because we got some more secret titles on the way, according to the article. And it continues with the big Xbox and Bethesda Game Showcase taking place on Sunday, June 12th. And the Xbox team recently has hinted at some big surprises to come. There is some room for excitement. And this is what Xbox had to say in regards to Xbox Game Pass. Their press release says this: we're not done for June, so keep an eye out on the Xbox Wire or PC or Xbox Game Pass Twitter and Instagram for more games and more release dates and possibly a few surprises now and again. We'll see you on June 12th on the Xbox Bethesda Game Showcase and back here soon. Cheers. Okay, so I'll start, Joe. Obviously, we know Sony is doing something today at 6 p.m. I bet it's 6 p.m. today, right? Our time?
6 p.m.
Yeah, 6 p.m. our time. The show has been leaked. I think it's an average show. I do, like, for instance,
it's been leaked already?
Well, I mean, they supposedly leaked.
I know a lot of people, like, they've been sharing a lot of, like, we've been memeing the shot.
I saw the memes were hilarious.
Yeah.
They were fantastic.
I did one. It was great.
Joe, we know that no first party is going to be there, but supposedly Street Fighter 6 is getting its first gameplay trailer, which is amazing. Yeah. We're getting a teaser trailer for Resident Evil 4 remake, which again, that's rumored. Stray is going to be there as well. Little Devil Inside is rumored to be there. Those all sound great. I'm looking forward for both of those games, even though they're indies. Sure. We also have the PSVR 2. There's supposed to be an overview of this unit that is not coming this year, unfortunately. Next year, it is going to be the tip of the spear when it comes to VR technology. Mm-hmm. The price is what everyone is concerned about. I'm thinking no less than $500. Some people are saying that might be $600.
God, if it is,
listen, it's going to be an dude. It's awesome tech. It's going to be $500. I'm buying it day one. I still have my PlayStation VR, a 1.0.
400 or bust, Boom. I'm going
400 would be great. I
got the wire in there. If I need a PlayStation to play this thing, and it's $500, that is.
But you know what? Let's reel this back in, Joe. Okay. Obviously, where Game Pass is going to have some big additions that are probably going to be launched the day of Xbox's show. What are you expecting Xbox to do for fans?
They got to fill the gap that is no Starfield or Redfall. They need to find games and publishers willing to put their game day one on Game Pass. So that means that they have to pull the wallet out, right? They have to pay some of that dev cost or what the percentage of copies they think would have sold on Xbox to kind of cover that gap. That's what they really need to do. That's going to be really imperative that they do. I think there's games like, I don't know. Saints Row.
It's funny.
In that service.
Last night during primetime gaming, which is a new Wednesday night, Asante brought up some incredible points. So much so that he basically took over the show himself. He became a one-man show. And he said basically what Microsoft needs to do is throw the kitchen sink at Xbox Game Pass and its community. And how do you do that? You go out and you get a Tiny Tina. It's been out for a while. You put it on there. It's a multiplayer game. Seems perfect for Xbox. You go out there and you get the zombie game. What the hell's the name of the zombie game that came out this year? It's kind of like Dead Island.
Oh, Dying Light.
Dying Light 2. Yeah, you go out and you get Dying Light 2. Right, that makes sense. It's it's a multiplayer game. It's been out. Microsoft apparently invested $50 million to help them finish the game. It's got to be an Xbox Game Pass. And then you turn around and you go and you get some of the older games that were released in the beginning of the year and you put them in there. But you also need to go out there and you have to get the Saints Row, the Gotham Knights, the Sonic Frontiers. If
Gotham Knight ain't going in, I could tell you that for a fact.
Okay, all right. But they need to do something, and it would be great to get games that you can play right now. But it would also be great to find out what they're going to do in the fall by putting some bigger games in there. Is something you would agree with?
Yeah, absolutely. There's going to be. I think you're going to see the rhythm start with putting games in that holiday season into Game Pass. So like akin to Back for Blood. Comes to mind, right? The game didn't light the world on fire, but it was something to offer, Game Pass fans. And people were excited when that game actually came out and actually got to try it and see if it was for them or not. That's where I see Xbox going and taking Game Pass, not just like for this showcase, but kind of in the future as they build out their portfolio of first party games, that cadence that we all talk about. That's what you're going to see. You're not going to see like established IP from third party come into Game Pass day one. You're going to see, like, I think Kesante's right, where you're going to see games that probably came out earlier this year come into Game Pass day, at that like release. Like Dying Light is maybe a good idea. Games that have already kind of went through their tail and now are kind of on the decline. That is a great way of kind of bolstering sales again for them. So I can see that. I can see games that are, I hate to say unproven, but that's the only word that comes to mind. Games that are somewhat unproven, IP that need an audience. You're going to see like Saints Row. I think makes a lot of sense.
Yes,
of like
absolutely.
this is an IP that isn't the biggest money maker in the world, but is also a big risk for them. So why not just diminish the risk by getting that some eyes on it, first and foremost, by getting the millions of folks that are subscribed to Game Pass on it, but more so get that sure money that you're going to get from Microsoft and from those downloads. That's what I'm going to expect from them. I'm not expecting like seeing like Madden or, right now, Call of Duty coming on like day one for them, right? I'm thinking more of like the smaller AAA games that, again, need that audience. And I think that's where Game Pass comes in. So I think you're going to see some cool indies get some day one support on it. I think you're going to get some near future support on it. And then you're going to get one big holiday game on it as well. That's what my expectations are for it.
Yeah, I mean, listen, and what I agree with everything. I think you're onto something. I think we've all come to the understanding that it's unlikely that there's going to be a game to quote unquote replace Starfield, right? I mean, unless they completely blow my mind, along with millions and millions of Xbox fans that somehow avowed from Obsidian is ready. And again, we don't know. It's unlikely, right? So we have no idea. But unless there's something of that substance, it's going to be missing. There's going to be, unfortunately, there is going to be a gap.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and here's the thing. I think, I've seen some folks and Xbox people, I'm not in the ecosystem as well as I once was, so please let me know. I've seen a lot of like downplaying, which I don't think is like wrong of folks that do, going like, hey, listen, last year's E3 or whatever showcase that we had was really good. This year, maybe not expect that same veracity because of the lack of games coming out this year, but it's still going to be a good show. And that's kind of like where my mind is. It's like, I don't know what they're going to necessarily show me. I don't know or see a lot of games coming out this year for them, but like, man, 2023 is going to kick ass for them. That's how I'm kind of looking at it. So for me, they can show me anything. I'm going to be pleasantly surprised from Xbox.
Yeah, I mean, again, 10 days from now, we'll all know. Either it's going to be. Mean, listen, look, it's going to be what it's going to be at this point. I think they've kind of painted themselves into a corner. To be honest with you, I said this last night, and I'll say it again. I think that last year's show was a 10 out of 10. It was probably the best performance they have put on as a publisher in 20 years. I will say that. So based on simply just that, they must at minimum reach the level of last year. 30 games, 10 out of 10 show, very hard to replicate. On top of that, though, on top of the pressure of having to deliver, well, they have two of the biggest, their newest IPs, AAA developed games that are not coming out. So they have to contend with they've bookended themselves, or consider painting themselves into a corner, so to speak. Now, is it doom and gloom? No, they're going to have quite a few amazing games there. I wouldn't be surprised if they have at least 30 games there. But Game Pass is going to have to be the answer, and they're going to have to, they're going to have to spend some money, Joe. So let's
absolutely. I'm sorry, and then and that's the thing, is like Game Pass is their bread and butter. That is where their ecosystem is headed. So it has to be the thing always front and center for them. That's all I was doing.
Yeah, and real quick, Nikki T in the chat says #show me. Yeah, well, they're not wrong. John Wolf, let's get your opinion on this. We know that surprises are coming because Xbox has basically said so. And this story was originally broken by PureXbox.com. What are you expecting? And what do they have to do? Well, I mean, obviously, I've said this before, John, and I think you've agreed with me. The true exclusive is Xbox Game Pass. That in itself is its own exclusive, because even if a game releases on multiple platforms, if you are an Xbox gamer, you are a supporter of that of Xbox Game Pass, that particular service, other services and other platforms don't matter, because you don't have to pay for that game, quote unquote, go out and spend $76.43 or at least $65.01 here in New York.
Agreed, Boom. When I saw this topic, I wrote down some notes here, and it's been something that I've been kind of thinking about. Like, the way that I kind of thought about this question that you're putting out there is, like, for me, right? Because I can only answer for myself personally. Would I personally be okay with them showcasing and saying these titles are coming to Game Pass, and this is kind of like a roadmap for the rest of the year? Because they do have to offset for the bad news. I mean, that did kill all momentum, in my opinion. That's I think that me and you are aligned there, that it did kind of halt the hype.
It took the wind right out of my sails, brother.
Yeah, and that's fine, and I think that a lot of people are feeling the same way. It's not that we're down on them, nor we think they're going out of business or anything extreme to that nature, nor are we here subscribing and posting it on social media or nothing like that. But the bottom line is that they know if they want to continue growing Game Pass, and that's obviously their strategy, they need to deliver the goods, right? It's common sense. So in looking at this, for me, right, so first, let's address the June question with they didn't really put out there what they're really releasing for the rest of June. Did a little bit of research, and there are a few titles that are supposed to launch in June, so they might surprise us with that Capcom Fighting Collection, which I would be happy with, day and date. That's collecting a bunch of fighting games, a bunch of side scrollers and stuff like that from the Capcom library. I'm a sucker for that, so I would be really happy with an announcement like that. I believe that Cuphead towards the end of the month, isn't that bringing out some DLC as well?
Yeah.
There you go. That's something
that my fantasy critic league needs it.
so definitely, I mean, there's some things that they can add there in June that can release on day and date that, you know, it could be intriguing. Now, obviously, from what I saw in my research, there's really no big title that's coming out in June that they can take advantage of. But what if they go back, right? And Joe, that's a great point that you made, that they can kind of piggyback off earlier releases this year. How would you guys feel about if at the end of that show you knew that all of this was coming to Game Pass this year, right? How about if they added Tiny Tina's Wonderlands right there on June 12th, available, play it now. Lego Star Wars Skywalker, play it right now.
Yes, Kay Sante actually said that last night as well. That's another great one. Yep.
Evil Dead just released a month ago, less than a month ago. Here you go. Play it today on June 12th. They have a lot of ammo that they can use at their disposal, right? Now, down the road, they can also make announcements that Saints Row or Gotham Knights or both can be their big holiday anchors to really bring in the masses to kind of fill the void of the exclusive. Because, Boom, to your credit, like you said, Game Pass is the exclusive, brother. When you ain't paying, it's an exclusive. It's a perk. All right. Yeah. And there's been people that I've seen on social media that are mostly on the Sony camp of things. Even they're not dropping down the money when they can get out on Game Pass. That's the bottom line. Right. Yeah. But how about this? How about if they bookend all of this with announcing that all Ubisoft classics are going to be available on June 12th, not to mention all Activision Call of Duty titles? Boom. I mean, if they come out and they announce everything that I just said, for me personally, Boom, that more than makes up like you know, the fumble that they did. They're putting their money where their mouth is. They're adding value to Game Pass as a service, and to me, that's competing. You know, they really have a shot here to make things right. And you know what? At the end of it, maybe these delays were kind of a blessing in disguise, because not only are we going to get better games, but now we're going to get more titles that were never even going to come to Game Pass to begin with. So I see, you know, for me, if they were to announce everything that I just mentioned, dude, I will be very satisfied, and knowing you know, that these titles in 2023 from first party are going to start dropping, hopefully, you know, with better cadence and better and better consistency. Boom, they'll turn it right back around for me, and the hype meter will go up once again, at least for me personally.
And that's a great point. Again, you know, just because games released earlier this year does not make them not a new game for somebody, right? Like, not everyone went out and bought Tiny Tina. Not everyone went out and bought Evil Dead. Not everyone went out and bought Dying Light 2, for that matter. Again, that Dying Light 2 in itself, if what we've heard is true, that they've Microsoft invested $50 million into that company so they could finish the game. How that wasn't a day one drop, shocking to me, to be honest with you. But it seems primed to be a release for Xbox Game Pass, at least in my opinion. We will see. Let me just catch the first super chat before we bring in Fuzzy Belvedere. Drawn TJ, generous friend of the program, he drops a $5 super chat and says they need Saints Row or something third party, a brand new game in Game Pass day one. Saints Row is perfect. Saints Row looks amazing, and that actually could be. I mean, they have a good relationship with Embracer Group. Embracer Group does have several games currently in Xbox Game Pass, so that is definitely a possibility. And he says this on a second super chat of $5. Thank you once again, Drawn TJ. He says, I don't want games I already own. I would rather get new games in Game Pass. Yeah, and all of the games, like, I own Dying Light, right? I own Evil Dead. A lot of these games I own, but here's the thing. We are the hardcore, right? There is a new audience that's finding Xbox that weren't Xbox gamers before. These games would be a big deal if you're just, let's say, invested into Xbox Game Pass for the first time. So it would make a lot of sense. Fuzzy Belvedere, let's get your opinion on this. Obviously, Microsoft, again, they find themselves in a bit of a pickle, so to speak. And I say that because their first-party output, which was already deemed to be, you know, okay for this year, took a major hit, right? We don't have to reiterate that.
Right.
We still have zero idea whether Motorsport makes it this year. I have a strong suspicion it will. But that's also a niche title, very similar to GT7. I'm going to play it, but it's not going to be my go-to. I'm still always going to go back to Horizon because that's the kind of gameplay I like.
Yeah.
With and again, June 12th isn't here, folks. We got 10 days. Microsoft has been tight-lipped. In fact, I would dare say this is the most tight of a ship they have run regarding leaks coming out before a big show than I've ever seen in my entire life.
I agree with that.
There has been no talk. Microsoft is radio silent. In fact, you don't even see some of the executives tweeting. I haven't seen Sarah Bond tweeting a bit. I haven't seen Phil tweeting a bit. I haven't even seen Aaron tweeting a bit. So I think that they are rallying the troops. They're bringing everybody in, and we're going to see what they're going to do. There's going to be some fun things at the show, no doubt. How do you think Xbox Game Pass needs to go? What direction do they need to do? Are you in agreement with Kayasante, who said on last night's Primetime Gaming they literally have to throw the kitchen sink at this thing?
It would be nice. I don't think they have to throw the kitchen sink, but they definitely should look at padding it a good bit for the most part. Like there's some games that are to be expected in Game Pass that should be releasing here soon that I didn't see on that list, like Plague's Tale Requiem. I don't think they showed as one of the
that is one of the games that was rumored to be releasing in June, and that would be a big one to release. Yeah. I mean, we know it's coming to Game Pass, but could they release it on June 12th? That would be awesome.
Yeah, I think it stands a chance of being like a shadow drop. As far as some of the older games and I agree with Drawn TJ, I don't necessarily want games I already purchased in there, but I've adjusted my purchasing history based on things I think would go in there and things I don't think would go in there. But Elden Ring has kind of been rumored as one of those that should have been in Game Pass already. We saw where they were bundling it with some of the Series X's on Microsoft's site and stuff like that. So it's like, I wouldn't be surprised if that makes it in this month.
Well, it's funny you say that because about a month ago, Larry Herb had his show with Rubes and the gang, and on the table was both special edition pieces to Elden Ring. They had the statue and they had the helmet.
Yeah,
and they were giving it away, and I thought, wow, why would they put this up there?
That's some serious cash they have to throw.
Oh,
there's something there's something to greatly consider. There's never been a From Software. I get shit for saying this a lot. I don't think, and someone correct me if I'm wrong, there has ever been a From Software game on Game Pass. Elden Ring would be the first, and the reason why is because those games
they sell.
Consistency sell.
Yeah,
they don't need Game Pass. They don't need it. They don't need anything. Like their games just come out and they sell like quadrillions. Like
here's the thing. Here's the thing to that to your point, Mr. Badbit.
Yeah.
They caused this madness, right? This, what I'm saying? They have painted themselves into a corner, and they have to. This is one of those situations where, well, the cat's out of the bag, folks, and we're gonna have to call animal control because I'm not going after that cat. That thing's got big claws. You know what I'm saying? So
Joe, you know what I will add to your point that you were making, and why I kind of think that it benefits them to put a FromSoft title on Game Pass, because there's a lot of players that will not try a From Software title because of the stigma that it has, that it's too hard. The game's too hard. When you can try a game on Game Pass, there's no risk. You don't have to waste $60 or $70 to see if you like it or not. You just download it. If it's your thing, keep playing it. If not, move on. So I think that From Software, I get where you're coming from the monetary value, but I would also think that they would want more players to at least try out what they have to offer.
I would agree to that, only with the exception that Elden Ring sold 13 million copies in a month.
Yeah.
Which is you don't get that.
Bonkers is what it is.
That's bonkers. Yeah. That's a superhero level thing. Yeah. And then that is a Nintendo release type of numbers right off the gate. So I feel like there's a stigma within the stigma. where like people assume, oh, this is hard. Nobody wants to like play or like give this a shot. Where like, as long as the game's good, people are gonna give it that shot. So like I've seen people go from Elden Ring to like Bloodborne, go from Elden Ring to like Sekiro, which is like, such a huge jump. But like I've seen that happen. That's the reason. Now, again, Microsoft's piggy bank is huge. But like to me, the way I see it is like, let's just say, God forbid, folks, that this showcase is a stinker and it's not that great. Well, that's fine, because at the end of the day, I don't know if that means much. You know what I mean? Because 2023 is going to be amazing. Mm-hmm. Like I feel like we amplify the showcases to such a degree that we forget that like there are games that we're going to be playing. Once we start playing those games, then the showcases are either magnified if the games are really great, or they're lessened if the games don't hit that well. So like to me, like they could have a quote unquote bad showcase, but if Starfield comes out and it is the bee's knees, that's all that matters.
Yeah.
All that matters. So I feel like there's more importance to show why I should be excited for like Starfield than anything else. If that makes sense. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
I hijacked everything.
No, that's fine.
By all means, continue,
no, but I agree with that to some extent. That's why I say they don't necessarily need to throw the kitchen sink, but I do want to see things like we know that there's a Need for Speed coming out, and yes, they could also have Forza Motorsport, but why not have Need for Speed? Yes, it's another niche area as far as gaming, but if that's something with their good relationship with EA, and considering how Battlefield didn't do too well, maybe they try this and say, okay, day and date, and they cut the check and whatnot. Saints Row was another one that was mentioned that I agree makes perfect sense. But then we also hear rumors back and forth of like Atomic Heart. Is it delayed? Is it not delayed? It's one of those things where that one might still be on track. And I think overall they have a pretty good chance if they show updates, like actual gameplay of a lot of the projects that we know have been kind of either talked about or leaked or have been shown before, but we actually see the actual gameplay as opposed to CGI. I think those things will settle the noise as far as what they really need to do. But I think they will, because they know the hardcore fan base is upset, and normally that's a small number, but we're this vocal number that keep on yelling at them about stuff. So I think they're going to open up the checkbook or open up the wallet a bit and put a few things that will surprise us, or they'll have some projects that they've kept tight-lipped as far as things like Project Mara. Like I'm under the impression Ninja Theory had multiple teams. So you had the Hellblade 2 team and you had your Project Mara team. Yes, it's a smaller, it was meant to, at least from how they showed it, it was meant to be a smaller experience, but who's to say that might not be already ready at this point type of deal.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But I think they will wow us. Yes, they're going to have some older games. To me, Elden Ring kind of makes sense, even if they have to overspend. I mean, it wouldn't really be an overspend, but for the most part, I think that would have, some nice PR behind it on their end. And for From Software, they're probably over the moon now with, like you said, 13 million. That's like more than the past 3 or 4 of their games kind of combined type of thing. So I think if they see a big check from Microsoft, they're going to be like, well, sales have slowed down a bit. Yeah, we'll take that check. Well, no worries, and see where it goes.
I think you're right there. If they've seen like the sales have decreased, they definitely will do that. But I do feel like even if they do, that's a long ways out. Like think of like Red Dead Redemption, I think has sold 45 million copies. And I think it took like a year or 2 to go on both PlayStation and Xbox's services.
Yeah.
So I do think you're right. I think it'll show up. I don't know if it's this soon though. I'm not convinced that way.
I mean, it would be a headline grabber. Let's just say that is for sure. Crispy, let's get your opinion on this. Obviously, you had a lot to say about Xbox last night when we were talking about the showcase. This is an opportunity. Look, I get it. There's going to be. I'm reading the chat, and there are a lot of people like, well, Microsoft doesn't really have to make things right, and some people are like, yeah, they need to make it right with me. I'm in the camp where Do I think that the ship is sinking? Do I think we just throwing our hands up and going, all right, that's it, Xbox is dead, Xbox has no games again? No. But there is something to be said that when you have a game as big as it's expected to be in Redfall, which of course comes from a developer that has released nothing but bangers, right? And then of course the granddaddy,
It's a bad word.
Yeah, bangers is a bad word. I said that specifically because you're here, because I know that annoys the shit out of you. So I did it as teasing. But yes, as the B word, let's just say that. And then of course Starfield. They have to respond, ladies and gentlemen. That is a fact. That is not a suggestion. That's not me playing coy or being nice. Microsoft needs to respond. How do they respond? Is it just a showcase? Is that good enough for you? I don't know. It's going to vary from person to person. Crispy, let's get your opinion on this. Xbox Game Pass needs to add games. How big do you think that they are willing to go? How much are you willing to spend? I think they're willing to spend when they say they got big surprises coming.
I mean, they got a budget. I'm sure it's astronomical at this point. You know, having a subscription service, you know, you're going to have to invest a ton of money to get it off the ground. So, I mean, they can, you don't know what they could do. I mean, Dying Light 2, I think, is a given at this point. It's going to come out sometime this year in Game Pass. You know, you got a Plague's Tale that's there somewhere. They could drop it at the end of June. It's definitely possible. I'm in the camp that when they delayed Starfield and Redfall, it was a little too, you know, nuanced. It was like, I feel like you got to get us with something that we were not expecting.
Yeah.
I feel like there's got to be at least one that, you know, might have looked, they might have gotten all those submissions from all these devs and was like, are you guys ready? Like Phil could have been just sitting there like, are you guys ready to launch? Like, what's going on here? You know what I mean? And whoever that was might be like, yeah, we could do it. And then all of a sudden he's like, now we got to go back to the drawing board on what we're going to do real quick. Because maybe Starfield didn't look quite that good. You know what I mean? So now you go and say, okay, we give them more time and we release something else. I don't feel it is a smart move to not have any AAA first-party game, none whatsoever. And Forza, I'm sorry, it's too niche. You need something else.
Yep.
So
100%.
You know, and they did that. Like we had inklings that Horizon was coming out, but we also didn't know for sure until they showed it. And they said it this year. So they are fully capable of announcing and launching a game that year. You know what I'm saying? So we've already seen it. Do it again. I think the surprise would be awesome. I think that's why they're so tight-lipped. And, you know, we could speculate Hellblade 2, Avowed, whatever. It could be none of those. We don't know. You know what I mean? So that's the beauty of it right now. I'm super excited for it. But I do think you're going to see multiplats regardless of what happens, you know, constantly filling in the pipeline because, you know, at the end of the day, I think, you know, if they're kind of their player base is kind of dying off a little bit, that's how you reinvigorate the game. And, you know, we've already proven as Xbox gamers that we are willing to purchase a game if we like it. So
yeah,
I think, you know, that narrative that all you do is play on Game Pass, like me, I would try Elden Ring if it was in Game Pass. Am I going to go out and buy it? No, because if I don't like it, I'm going to be very upset with myself paying full price for it. And then it's also, all of a sudden it's in Game Pass. And I'm like, darn, you know what I mean? I paid for it. I didn't like it that much. You know, if I bought a physical copy, I could trade it in. Maybe that's the way I would do it. But it's one of those things, like there are certain games that I think could benefit from this. Dying Light 2, I think could absolutely benefit from Game Pass. And if they did invest the money, then it should have been already there to begin with, and we're just waiting for it. So it's one of those things. I say they gotta have something up their sleeve, and that will satisfy us, because Starfield was too big this year to just say, okay, well, we're not going to have any, you know, thing but Forza. That would be unacceptable to me.
Well, like, I mean, like, I know you're big into Gears. Would like that Gears collection, if that's like, you know, Gears 2 or whatever,
yes, baby.
Yeah, right. Would Deathloop, which is an amazing game, would come together? Like, would that, you think, satiate the audience where it's like, okay, this holiday we don't like you're gonna get your Forza. I hate it. I'm gonna do it, guys. I'm so sorry. You're gonna get your Gears Halo Forza in some capacity,
The
and then
thing
like
is,
a Deathloop.
the thing is that the way that I see it, and I'm sorry about that, guys. I lost power there for a second.
How dare you.
Look, okay, and Boom, you've been married for a long time, brother. Okay, so you're gonna know, and whoever else has been in a relationship for a long time here is gonna know where I'm coming from. When you mess up with the missus, you gotta make it up, baby. All right, and the thing is that sometimes some flowers aren't enough. Sometimes you gotta, go the extra mile, take her to that expensive restaurant. So you get what I'm saying. So at the same time, I get that it's not like Boom was saying, it's not doom and gloom, but they kind of do have to make it up here, guys, and they know that because the momentum, in my opinion, it was halted. There's no denying that.
Yeah, 100%.
I think like perhaps slowed, but I would say y'all lived through the Xbox One. Xbox can mess up a lot, and there's still going to be people there. Like to me, I'm like if one bad showcase, I don't think is the disaster. And again, like we're just assuming it. If things don't go whatever, it's bad. But like one mediocre showcase isn't going to be the doom and gloom. I'm much more optimistic in the fact of like, yeah, they proved that they love you. They just bought Bethesda. They just bought Activision. That's not slowing down anytime soon. So I feel like there is a like understanding of like, okay, maybe this year's showcase isn't the year of dreams that we all wanted, but we know that next year they'll have, your Call of Duties, your, whatever have you, whatever Blizzard comes out, your Overwatch is like, it's going to be a really huge show. So like, for me, I like not to like give them a pass cause it would be a bummer, but I often think we put way too much emphasis on showcases that in the grand scheme of things, it just matters that the games are good. Like everything else is marketing. Everything else is a big, elaborate ad. So like to me, I'm not so hung up that like they have to prove anything because I feel like they have proved it. I feel like they've shown you, yeah, they're willing to spend the money to make sure that you guys have those, big first party games in this service.
Hey,
Joe,
that's
my thing. Yeah.
Just to add to that, I mean, Starfield and Redfall, they're still coming. They're still huge, and
they're not canceled. They're delayed. But that happens. Yeah,
some people's attitude seems to be, and I'm not saying Joe's. I'm just saying in general, some people like well, they're just gone. They're just they're not coming at all, and that's just so not true. That's it's like okay, yes, they are delayed, but wouldn't you rather be delayed and be better for it than it came out and be like, what the hell is this crap?
No, that's a good point. Web Dave. It's just that the thing is that like I think that sometimes where the disconnect is in what people like me are trying to communicate is that I'm trying to put myself in Xbox's shoes, and I'm trying to look at it from the perspective like, trust me, I'm fine. As a gamer, I'm fine. I'm satisfied. Even if they don't, even if they don't say and they don't release everything that I mentioned, that's fine. It's just that the thing is that I would think if they really want to push the needle here and keep Game Pass growing and keep the momentum going that they had, because it was palpable. You can feel the momentum shifting towards the Xbox ecosystem in this generation. That's not a secret, and I don't think that's a suggestion. I think that's a fact. Okay, yeah. And I would think that if they want to keep that momentum going, Phil Spencer and company know more than us that they need big announcements. It's just part of the industry. And they need to they need to control the news. They need
the narrative. They need to control the narrative.
There you go. Yep. They need to continue announcing big things. Like, I keep on mentioning this. If they're able to get all of these Call of Duty legacy titles into Game Pass, yeah, for us here on the panel, it's not a needle mover. We're gonna be whatever. And for all the people on the chat, but like for people like my cousin that I mentioned last time I was on the show, it's huge. Once you say, indeed, hey, we have all these Call of Duty titles on Game Pass, that's headlines right there. So that's kind of like the things that I'm talking about. That's kind of like how I like to look at and come at this conversation from that angle, just so that, you know, it's not oh, we're entitled, you guys owe us this. No, it's not like that. It's just, hey, I think that if you guys want to keep on going in the direction you were going, we need some big news here.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. Crispy Bomb, before I move on to Web Dave, I want to see if you want to add anything to your amazing point. Well, you know, in regards to, you know, you're a multiplayer guy. Everyone knows that. Multiplayer games is basically what moves Xbox along. That's a fact, ladies and gentlemen. And more importantly, there are some multiplayer games in there that would do fantastic being added to Game Pass. Evil Dead being one of them. Yes, it just released, but it didn't sell that well, and that was pretty much to be expected. Tiny Tina's Wonderland, magnificent game. I get it. I bought it. Guess what? Unfortunately, it's in the backlog right now. Halo is life. And obviously, they have other games like Dying Light 2 is multiplayer, co-op multiplayer, but co-op nonetheless. Do you think that they should make those a priority?
Oh yeah, I mean, Evil Dead, that should be an easy one at this point, you know, and we've seen them go that route, and those games have been successful. I mean, you look at Back for Blood, I mean, and really, you know, it is what it is. It's a fun game, but it's nothing like, you know, be like, oh, this is the greatest looking game in the world. No, but it's fun multiplayer, and I think a lot of people are having fun with Evil Dead. Why not do that? Why not throw them a bone? Because at the end of the day, they're, you know, a smaller dev team, and you know, it seems like they've earned it, and you know, they kind of had a bad stigma going around them, and it seems they've turned it around. So that's something to, you know, applaud at, and the more eyes on that game, I think would be important to them. But you know, at the end of the day, like, you know, like the Gears collection, like, you know, is that possible? It is possible this year. I mean, I think they could crank out a remaster in a year and a half, 2 years. I think the Coalition is fully capable of doing that. They've already remastered one Gears, probably the hardest one. And if you went back and played Gears 2 and 3, if you're a new to Xbox gamer, you just don't even know, because then you get to 4 and it's like a whole nother world. You know what I'm saying? And it's like the hit boxes, the hit detection, a lot of stuff that they would have to go back and fix. I think they should do that. And yes, it would be Gears and Forza, and then you'd probably have the Halo DLC, and it would be kind of like, oh yeah, this is it. But also, what do they have coming on the pipeline? What are they going to announce that we haven't seen yet? Like Compulsion's new game that could come out next year or in 2024. And as you see more of these games, the beauty of it is the 90 to 95% of the games you're going to see at the showcase are going to be in Game Pass. And that's where you grab people.
Indeed, absolutely. Web Dave, let's get your final opinion on this topic that we have 300 plus people here listening to. I want to say a big shout out to everyone that is here, taking the time to support Double Barrel Gaming with your live views. Definitely appreciate that. Web Dave, you've heard everyone's opinion, but I'm interested to get yours. Game Pass is going to be the drawing point for Microsoft in this show. Obviously, you know, what rules and in the conversation is that all of their first-party games are coming to Xbox Game Pass. We all know that, but I think the importance of not having first-party there this year specifically in a big way like we expected, they need to supplement that with third-party. Pulling a page right out of Sony's book. Sony is not shy of signing these multi-year exclusive deals. They're not shy of having these deals with these third and second party developers. Microsoft, unfortunately, got caught with their pants down, so to speak. I don't know how long before they announced this delay. Did they know that a delay was coming? Did they know this last year? Did they know this in January of 2022? I can't tell you, because guess what? No one's talking, and that makes sense. But they have to respond. The question is, Dave, how big do they respond?
Well, maybe it's just a feeling, we're all about our feelings, but I tell you, I really feel that Microsoft, Phil, Sarah, and all the team have, that's why they're kind of doing a radio silence right now. It's they are gearing up for what is going to probably be the biggest show that Microsoft has ever done, for the simple fact that they know they have to compete with the landmark excitement that they created last year. They have to quell the, deflation of, oh, we're not getting this, But like I said, in the long run, I'd rather them delay it than put out garbage or put out something that people are just going to complain about instead of it reaching its full potential. I think that that they have the opportunity at the showcase, and I really feel, and I may be wrong. We'll find out, and you guys can all make fun of me then. But I really feel that that we are not going to be disappointed when it comes to what Microsoft has in store for their presentation. I think that it's going to be big. I think there's going to be many surprises that we weren't expecting. I think some of the rumors and things are going to come to fruition. And there could even be a few surprises at Keeley's show leading up to the Microsoft show. I think they're
Indeed.
I think they're not going to leave any stone unturned. I think they're really going to be like, obviously there's some things that are way off in the future that they should keep under wraps for now, and hopefully they'll do that, because that tends to bite them in the ass when they go too much info too soon.
Yep.
But I think that there's going to be that aha moment when everybody's like, okay, I get it, cool. And then next year, when we do get the release of Starfield and Redfall, and we're like, oh my God, this is fantastic, this is great, I'm so glad it's here now, and you're gonna forget all about the delays. I
agree.
So.
I think a lot of people are in that camp as well. I mean, listen,
Right there with
we're gonna know soon enough, ladies and gentlemen. We're gonna know soon enough. That is for absolute sure. And I'm looking forward, as you can see by my terrible Sonic gameplay here. I must have died in this level, golly, by 15, 20 times. It's just off. This game, Sonic Colors, is great, but it's hard as balls. And I don't know if it's because I'm getting older and I don't have the skills. Well, this game is just really hard. I'm not sure. But listen, let's get on to the second topic. People are talking about Sonic. I want to talk about Sonic. A lot of people are very, very jarred by what they saw. I'm very amped. A lot of people are like, yeah, it kind of looks like it's Breath of the Wild, because Breath of the Wild didn't have any real, there was no substance to it. It was a very empty world. A lot of people say it looks like trash. It needs to bake more. We're going to get into it, but let me catch up with some of the super chats. Jerron TJ once again drops not one, but two additional super chats. The first one of $5 says, if I'm Phil, I get Need for Speed and Saints Row into Xbox Game Pass. Yes, we all absolutely agree with that. And he drops a very generous $10 super chat and says, my personal picks would be Elden Ring, Saints Row, Gotham Knights, Need for Speed, if they want to blow us away. Indeed. Again, we don't know where they're willing to go. We got a new channel member, Highlander 001. Thank you for becoming a new member of Double Barrel Gaming's channel membership. Definitely super appreciate that. JC Carla Moreau drops a very generous $2 super chat and says, marketing is important. Just ask Sony and Call of Duty. Indeed. And we have another one that just came in, a big one from our good friend Kirby Zero Louise. Welcome back to the program, brother, and thank you so much for the $10 super chat. He says, Sonic Frontiers was not as empty as everyone is saying. Keep in mind, Sonic is fast. He needs to move absolutely world space. The demo also had very aggressive LODs, so you didn't see everything at once. Yeah, I absolutely agree. Well, let's get into it, ladies and gentlemen. Sonic Colors, Sonic Frontiers. Look, I am, and I've said this before, I said it last night, I am a stan for Sonic. As much as I love Mario, I have always been a Sonic fan. And classic Sonic, side-scrolling Sonics, they're great, right? There's history, there are classic IP, there are classic games, great. But for me, Sonic hit its stride with Sonic Adventure on the Dreamcast. It was a launch title, or it was in the launch window. It didn't launch actually with the Dreamcast, but I have an amazing story. I've told this 1,000 times. I wound up getting it imported for my friend Joe and myself, and we got it on Christmas Eve. Like at the last delivery on Christmas Eve, UPS knocked at the door, and I played Sonic Adventure for the Dreamcast, imported, all Christmas morning, all Christmas Eve. It was absolutely amazing. Still one of my favorite Sonic games. I got a lot of those vibes from what we saw with the IGN first. And I understand there are a lot of people like, oh, the world is empty. I understand that the game may not have been next gen, but we're also, remember, this is not the finished game. This is a preview of what to be expected. A lot of people, including Kay Asante, who we were talking this morning, thinks that this is going to be a game that they show us, and they showing us this. So when they announce that it's going to be delayed until next year, we won't be all in our feelings because, hey, listen, the game needs some time. He agrees, and I agree, and we're not going on a Starfield tangent. This is probably what Bethesda should have done. They should have shown us the game, showed us some gameplay, and at the 11th hour say, hey, folks, listen, we are incredibly sorry, but we need more time to make the game perfect. And no one would have really, I don't think anyone would have really batted an eye because it's Todd Howard. But with that said, I want to go for Joe first on this. Joe, what were you as jarred as many are claiming to have been over what happened during the IGN first of Sonic Frontiers? I thought it looked amazing. Other people didn't, and I hear you if that's the case.
So I have to let you all know something. We need to get over the fact as not just a community, not just the culture, but I feel like society. And my dog agrees. That's why he's barking if you can't hear him in the back of your
We can't hear it, so that's
okay, good. Then the technology is working as it should be. So we need to just come together as a people and understand that there has not been a good Sonic game since like the Sega Saturn. And I feel like once we're okay with that truth, then we can truly heal as a society. Then we can all come together and go, you know what? Sonic kind of sucks. You know, we can all
Joe, you're gonna cause a riot in the chat.
You know,
what are you doing?
He kind of sucks. His movies are the only thing that are kind of good about him right now, and that's saying something. The video game movie is better than the video games. You know, that should tell you all you need to know about Sonic. So my thoughts coming in were just like, there's no way this is gonna be good. And then I walked out going, I was absolutely right. There's no way this is gonna be good.
I mean, listen, you're entitled to your opinion. I would humbly disagree. I think Sonic Frontiers has a great shot of being
the Joker gift
a very,
in my head
very,
right
very. Listen, Mario Odyssey is one of the best games in the franchise's history.
No, I mean we can even stop there. You know, like it's.
I mean, listen,
I have the hottest of hot takes about Mario Odyssey. It is just. It's a great game, but it's like that's where I end. That's compliments.
Look,
we're done, Joe. We're done. Neither way.
I'm gonna say this: you probably might have had a case. The jury might have found your client guilty with the Sonic. Yeah. I'm not sure what it's going to be, but the minute you mention Mario Odyssey as being just a good game, you lost everybody. But
it's better than Sunshine, right?
Yeah, well, Sunshine.
I could say that.
I feel a lot of games are better than Sunshine.
Exactly,
was okay.
But listen, I saw the Sonic thing, and I was just like, here's the thing. I feel like Sega saw Breath of the Wild and they're just like, oh, we need to do that for Sonic. We need our own Breath of the Wild. And the developers are like, yeah, that's awesome. Like an evolution of our brand, the evolution of the character doing something, you know, that's out of the box, but yet you could see it be in the box at the same time. That's genius. And then Sega just turned around and go, no, literally Breath of the Wild. Like, we just want that, but Sonic. And they're just like, but we don't know how that's gonna make sense. And they're like, no need. We just told you how. It's
you know what's crazy, Joe? I may be the only one on the panel, and maybe when everyone else speaks, they'll confirm this. I don't know why I didn't get that vibe from looking at the gameplay, but that was just
for me. I got Sonic Adventure, but I'm an OG like that. See, I get the Breath of the Wild takes because it does have an ambience of that open world. A very big open world for a small character he's not a small character, but
it's an open world like roller coaster type of or amusement park rather, right? Where it's like, here's all these activities in this open world. Look at all these puzzles we got. Look, you got to climb this tower. Isn't that going to be neat? And it just feels. It doesn't feel like how I feel like we envision Sonic to be, and I just don't know if Sonic translates well to 3D like we think he does or should, because to me, once he gets into that 3D plane, like Sonic's thing is all about speed and momentum, and by killing there's like some portions where you're not like running on rails and you're just kind of like running around this weird, it looks kind of realistic field. I'm just like, what is this? Like, Sonic is just like Sonic sucks if Sonic stops. Like, give me something that feels like Sonic, and none of that really did. It was like these really short bursts of speed and then just nothing afterwards. It was strange to me. That's what I saw. So I wasn't
absolutely
in kind words impressed.
Absolutely entitled to your opinion. Like I said, they're going to have reveals all month long, exclusive reveals all month long. So I would imagine we're going to see some more, and maybe we'll get some story beats on what exactly is happening. I'm super excited again, but I'm also a stand for Sonic Sonic Adventure, and that's the vibes that I personally got. Thanaros, good friend of the program, he drops a very generous $10 super chat, and he says, "Saturn, right? Tell me you know nothing about Sonic without telling me you know nothing about Sonic."
Yeah, I don't need to know anything about Sonic. He sucks. He sucks, Thanaros.
Oh no!
I hear you, Joe. But I think you're going to lose some people because I don't think.
Joe, this right here is a hot
fine.
take, and this is coming from someone that grew up with the NES and the Super NES. I've always thought, even when I was younger, that Sonic was always cooler than Mario, for example, and that's kind of like the way that Sega marketed it. But I think that the problem is that. Look, man, I'll make this real simple. As long as they don't do no weird Sonic Princess type stuff, I think we're going to be fine, guys.
Your princess has been moved to another castle.
Keep going. That's really...
As long as he doesn't kiss a human type of stuff like right?
Yeah.
Sonic 06.
Exactly. I think that might be your holdup, Joe. That might be what you're trying to say, but like you just can't, you just didn't think of it. You just don't want that Sonic Princess interaction, brother.
No, I just want none of it. Like he's not good. We need to move away from it. We need to stop. Like he was cooler than Mario. He wore shoes. He checked his time because he's so fast. He's I don't need to be. I could be somewhere else and be here. You know what I mean? Like that's how fast I am, and that's great. I mean, Sonic and Knuckles was my jam as a kid, but then it just,
I got you.
It stopped translating well, guys.
Listen, yeah.
Remember when they gave Pac-Man arms and legs and they're like, this is going to redefine Pac-Man, but it just became nightmare fuel? That's kind of how I feel. It's like, listen, Sonic had his run.
Pac-Man, by the way, for the TurboGrafx 16 was dope. It's one of my brother Neo Mental's favorite games to this day. I will have you. Let's and plus he's in freaking Smash Brothers and he's awesome too.
Oh, God,
by the way, anyway, real quick, someone that agrees with you, Joe, Drawn TJ drops an additional $5 who then says, I actually never liked Sonic. It's boring 2D. This new one just might make me a fan. I say yes and yes to that. You know what? Let's Crispy Bob. Let's save the sync.
Time to damage control, people.
I hope you guys know Everborn right now is screaming.
He's dying. He's literally dying on the vine.
Get me in here, damn it.
Yeah, he I don't know what he had a meeting that maybe he couldn't move. Maybe we'll get him back in here before the end of it. Crispy Bomb, look. If you look at the chat, and we have over 315 people here, which is absolutely amazing. there's a big split. There are people like F Sonic and there are people like Yay Sonic, right? So where do you personally fall in regards to the Sonic Frontiers? Is it, I mean, and again, it's just one of those games that I would love for Microsoft to say, because they have a working relationship with Sega that was announced last year. They're going to be making these big quadruple A, type of games, and they're going to be using Microsoft tech. I would love to see them say, "Hey, Sonic Frontiers, day and date in Game Pass." I mean, what are your thoughts on what we saw so far?
Well, they're not Joe's. I'm going to say that. Sonic, I have, I get what Joe's saying. Like, there's a certain point in the Sonic, eras over your lifespan, especially that we played like every single one of them over a period of time, that you just stop playing them. I get that completely. This is kind of, I've watched it. I just watched it this morning, and I'm a little reinvigorated. Now, I know what people are saying, Breath of the Wild. It actually reminds me kind of Sunset Overdrive a little bit.
Yeah, I can see that.
You know what I'm saying? And the way the verticality goes into like, the moves that you're going to be able to do to some of the enemies. I think it's an interesting concept. Did it look superb? No, I think they have to ride a fine line. You have a character that is known to be always cartoony, and you're trying to make the world look better. I think, you don't want it to look too realistic. So I don't know if they're trying to find a happy medium. I do believe, you could use a little more going on, a little more enemies, stuff like that. At the end of the day, I mean, they got to reinvent it. It's not doing as well as it used to, just being, this 2D to sometimes 3D platformer that they've been doing forever now. You got to kind of give us something new. It could be a success. It could be a failure. I'm interested. If it's in Game Pass, I'm going to play it. And it seems like one of those games that you'd say, yeah, that definitely, I could see that going into Game Pass. People haven't, the movies have helped people start rethinking Sonic and having this open world type atmosphere. It might not be a bad thing because of the movies and their success. So I'm on the fence. Last Sega I played was like Sega 3, Sonic 3D or whatever it was. That's like the last one I really like beat and played. I've tried them over the years, and it's just like, I'm kind of just over this, whole thing. And that's the same. Like, I don't go and look at Mario and be like, yeah, let's go for another Mario. It's like, yeah, I get why you guys like it, but at the end of the day, I want to see something new. And, really, when it comes down to it, this is what they're trying to do. And, I give them credit. I mean, you can't reinvent the wheel, but, you can ride that fine line. And I think they're trying to do that with this. And it could fail, but I'm hoping, that we get to see more and they add some more to it. And we see somebody, really like, giving their 2 cents about it. That's a true Sonic fan that really has been playing them all. Like Boom, for example, like once you play this, I'm going to be interested in your take, because at the end of the day, I kind of lost it a long time ago when Sega died. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no. Listen, they have to reinvent the wheel. Obviously, a lot of people loved, Sonic Adventure. A lot of people didn't like Sonic Adventure. And since that game, even Sonic Adventure 2, not that great, to be honest with you. And a lot of people were really, they had Sonic Adventure 2 had its Jar Jar Binks in Biggs the Cat. A lot of people were really pissed off at Biggs the Cat because he was purple, he was big, and he was dumb. And unfortunately, that pissed off a lot of people. I like Biggs the Cat because he was purple and he was big, and it is what it is. But let me catch up with some of the super chats that have come in. Dan the Man Cunningham, good friend of the show, he drops a very generous $5 super chat, and he actually talks some real truths here. He says, I don't think the Starfield delay is what upset people as much as giving a solid date. Then backtracking, that hurt. Yeah, unfortunately, the stigma with that, Dan, is God Howard, as he's known by many in the circles I run in, said that I am putting this in pen, not pencil, meaning that it was a locked in date. Now, something happened. What happened? We don't know. And at the end of the day, if Starfield releases next year and it is a banger, it is going to be, we'll all look back at the delay and say, well, that sucked then, but this game is, man, it's amazing. I'm going and I created my own Han Solo. and I'm running through the galaxy and I'm having this incredible thing. So if that in fact happens, wonderful. We also had another super chat come in from Gamers Play HUD Zero, good friend of the program. He drops two super chats, and one he's actually is a bit of a correction super chat. He says the blue blur was the pinnacle of Sega. Instant mascot. Sega 2 upped the ante. Sonic Adventure, second masterpiece. Afterwards, Downward Spiral movies redeemed. Indeed. And his second super chat, actually, he was correcting himself for blue blur, but we got it, brother. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you for the generosity, as always. Let's bring in Fuzzy on this. Fuzzy, where do you personally fall on what we saw?
I mean, for me, I've looked at the trailer a couple of times.
I've watched it a dozen times. I'm going to be honest with you because I'm a nerd, but that's okay.
For me, I've always been more of a Sonic 2D fan than 3D.
Okay.
But I'm not going to say it's the end of Sonic's career kind of thing. But no, it looks interesting in the sense that it's a different take on the Sonic universe, but I will probably give it a try if it winds up in Game Pass. But like Sega, I've as much as I love Sega during the time when I was growing up and playing video games at the arcade or in my home, I've kind of moved on from Sonic at this point. But the 2D stuff, still love that. The 3D stuff, I'll definitely give it a try at some point. But I'll leave it at that. And
okay,
yes,
I mean, listen,
Sega over Nintendo, and the last good Mario for me was Super Mario Brothers World or something like that. No, whatever the one was, the first one on the Super NES with
that's
the
Super Mario
leaf and the
World.
raccoon suit, and that was about it.
Yeah, that's a goat.
I'm still the GOAT to this day, all these years later, and they've had numerous consoles and numerous releases. John, did we get your opinion on this yet, brother?
I'll just quickly say that Luzzy, I prefer side-scrolling chunky Sonic. Okay, that's my personal favorite.
So you like the thickness Sonic? You don't like the fit Sonic? I hear you.
The nostalgia just
more
kicks
cushion
in
for the pushing is what you're saying.
Exactly, and you got to admire that he's chunky.
Lord.
He's still the fastest thing around, right?
That is true. That's true.
So I mean, chunky Sonic has a lot of nostalgia.
I know I killed you with that.
Sonic was
sorry
some junk in his trunk.
Oh man.
Sorry about that, but I look, one of the things that I do give them credit for, I really do admire the fact that it looks like they're trying to do something big with this game, because it's easy for them just to cash it in and kind of release a movie tie-in or something like that. And I do admire the fact that they're not doing that and that they're actually trying to, give us a new experience. So that I am optimistic about it. I also think that Sega as a company understands the importance of at least putting their best foot forward when it comes to the Sonic IP, because man, those movies are doing great. And
they are.
One of the things that got me really excited, growing up on this stuff, is when I took my my 7-year-old daughter to go see Sonic 2 recently. Let me tell you guys something, all right? I wasn't expecting this at all. This caught me off guard. All the little kids in there, their faces lit up as soon as that Sonic logo came up in the beginning and he first appeared. All the little kids in the theater started going crazy. It was kind of like Marvel-esque, you know.
Like I said, my nephew wants to go. We're gonna watch it at home because obviously we're still a little cautious about the theaters. But that's an amazing experience. That's something that proves that they have figured it out.
Yeah.
And again, just to kind of rewind on what you're saying, when they first showed Sonic what he looked like. Nightmare fuel, as Joe would say. That was so. What did they do? They pumped the brakes. They delayed it a year. It cost them millions. But at the end, what they did is they released a Sonic that kids could attach their fandom to, And now you're seeing it with 2. 3's already been greenlit. There's probably greenlit for 4. Jim Carrey is just absolutely amazing in it. It's they're hitting all of the notes that they need to hit. I'm hoping that the delay of the Sonic film proved to Sega that even if this isn't ready, even if let's say like they're doing what Keosante and I both believe, they're showing us gameplay and then they're going to pull the rug and say, hey, folks, listen, we need more time. We'll see you in 2023. We will be okay with that.
Yeah, and I do think that that's coming, Boom, because what I saw the trailer yesterday, and what I saw, I don't know why I got the gut feeling that was a very early, that this is an early build that we're looking at, because that world did look very empty, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So I didn't see any enemies anywhere, which usually, the enemies will be, at least they'll show some type of combat. And they didn't really show that. All they showed was Sonic running around like this open mass field. And so I really do think that the game is really early, to be honest with you. And I could definitely see it getting delayed to 2023, possibly 2024. But I do say, like I did say, I am optimistic about it, because I think that Sega understands the importance of making this an A title, and giving this the white glove treatment, because it is arguably one of their biggest IPs.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. I mean, and we know that Sega's having a bit of a resurgence, right? Sonic has to be at the lead of that resurgence. We know that Jet Set Radio is getting a remake. We know that Virtual Fighter in some form or fashion is being done. They're doing that big behind the scenes. I would love to see proper Sega. We just had House of the Dead remake, which if you haven't played it, it's amazing. I wish I could use light guns, to be honest with you, because that's how I played it with Mrs. Boom, which, by the way, is a huge fan. We played that to 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, night after night after night on the Dreamcast. I still have the gun controllers. It was amazing. But that, again, they're slowly. We've seen Panzer Dragoon make a return in a remake by the same company that did House of the Dead, which was absolutely astounding. If you're a fan of that, but let's get Web Dave's opinion on this. Web Dave, look, Sonic is as iconic as Mario, as Kratos, as Master Chief. He's earned it. He's been around since '91. He's been and we've had some people actually. Who was it? Someone dropped a super chat. Let me just catch it up. Gamers Playhut Zero says this after dropping a $2 super chat. The infamous Sonic 06. That was awful. Somehow and painfully, he says he finished it. Good on you, sir. That is dedication. But Dave, what were your thoughts of the Sonic Frontier first look from IGN?
I liked it.
There you go.
Joe.
Yeah, me too. No, I loved it. I loved it. So
yeah,
a refined taste,
Yeah, and it's all good. I mean, everybody's got their own opinions. Wrong as yours is. I'm just kidding, Joe. I love you, Joe. I love you, man. I'm just playing. But no, seriously, it's it's early. It's but as far as the direction they're going with it, I like it. I'm looking forward to playing it. I big Sonic fan. And I know that if Everborn was here, he'd be like, Sonic will be the greatest mascot for Xbox. So, because he wants Microsoft to buy the Sega. And I just
I don't see it. I like anybody. Like I listen, if they buy it, like great, but like
it's it's a move for Japan, Joe. It's a move for Japan.
Exactly. I mean, Atlas, that'd be a big gap. Like, you still need to put that game on other consoles, like Persona.
You guys, hey guys, you know which was the a Sonic game that I really enjoyed, because it had both aspects. That Sonic Generations
was freaking awesome. I loved Generations.
The exception to the rule, yeah.
Yeah. It gave you the best of both worlds, Chunky Sonic and slim tender Sonic.
The chunky one is the young one, right? He's just hanging out in school and he's eating Twinkies. He's all right with that. The skinny one, now he's checking out chicks and he's like, listen, this this love handle thing, no good. I'm gonna start doing some push-ups. And then he goes out for the summer and he comes back and he's cock D, and people are like, yeah, now I'm getting chicks.
There you go.
That's a sign. But listen, Joe, we have you here, and we're very privileged to have you here because you're on vacation for the next 2 weeks, which is amazing. We got to get into one of the biggest topics of the show, and this one is going to be one that I'm willing to talk about because it's going to talk about exclusives. It's going to talk about money hatting. It's going to talk about Street Fighter 6, but we're also going to talk about potentially some acquisition talk. Yeah, so this is the firecracker one, folks. Get ready, strap in, get your cup of coffee, and let's go. Look, folks, as we know, Sony isn't shy about locking down titles. They don't have the same ideology as Phil. Phil wants games to be played everywhere. That's Phil Spencer, and we love him for it. Jim Ryan and Sony, well, they play cutthroat baseball, where while they're on second base, they are stabbing you in the back and then stealing third. That's just the way they do business. And you know what? That actually would make a great video game. But let's reel this back in. Street Fighter 6 is expected to be shown tonight. The first actual gameplay. We saw a teaser trailer of Ryu fighting some punk kid who I hope isn't the star of the show, and they're kind of taking old man Ryu out to the back shed and beating him and leaving him to die. I hope that's not the case, but needless to say, Street Fighter 6 expected to be a PlayStation 5 exclusive. Very similar to PlayStation 4 when Street Fighter 5 released as an exclusive. Now, last night we talked briefly about Street Fighter, being, what were the sales numbers? Everybody wants to know, what did Street Fighter 5 sell? According to Capcom, November 2nd of 2021, last year, just about maybe 4 months ago, they had crossed 6 million copies worldwide. Now, they say sales, but Joe, as you know, a couple of there were at least 1 or 2 times where they gave Street Fighter 5 away, and we don't know that if those sales numbers are a part of the ones that they gave away, because when I had originally checked the story, I was able to find before they did the whole in PlayStation Plus get Street Fighter 5 now. It was 2.8 million. So I don't know if that other 2.2 million come the way of people that downloaded and they consider that sales. We don't know. Needless to say, with 115 million PlayStation 4s, 6 million, even if they sold that many, isn't a great number. Fighting games are already niche. Street Fighter, well, it's not really niche, but fighting games are. And I don't know what all I can tell you is this. There was a story last week from Famitsu where Capcom had announced publicly that because they did so well in their financials on their last quarter, that they're going to be giving employees a 25% increase in salary, which is amazing. That, very rare do you hear awesome stories like that. So that leads me to ask a question, Joe. Does Sony pay the big bucks to get Street Fighter, even if it's a timed exclusive, or do they just allow it to be multi-plat? Because a lot of people like Kei Asante, once again, who had a great point, he says the money's already in the box because Sony paid them this exorbitant amount of money to keep Street Fighter as an exclusive. That money is probably going to be offered again. Do you not take that offer because Microsoft, because you can release your next big Street Fighter not just on one platform but on 3? Because you're going to get it on PC, you're going to get it potentially on Xbox, you get it here. We're going to tackle this first, and then we're going to talk about if the exclusive happens. Now Microsoft, they need to react, and I'm going to tell you what they need to do. But Joe, what are your thoughts on this, brother?
Street Fighter 6 is probably going to be an exclusive again. If all the rumors is pointing to what it's pointing to. 6 million isn't a bad figure, but when you look at all, it's actually really good. But like when you look at compared to like Mortal Kombat 11, what is it? 12 million copies sold.
12 million, double it. Yeah.
Mortal Kombat's popularity, I feel like, is even just, it's really maintained. I feel like most people like it's in the zeitgeist of popular culture. right?
Yeah,
And I
pop
feel
culture
like
for sure. 100%. Yeah.
Street Fighter didn't get that for many reasons. And I don't think the main reason was it's an exclusive to PlayStation. I think the main reason was that game launched. And I remember that launch. It was shite. You see how I covered? I was gonna cuss it, didn't
Appreciate that, Joe. Thank you.
I remembered midway through. But like it wasn't great. It wasn't great. And I think with Street Fighter 6, what they need to focus on is the quality. It's very easy for me to say that as a non-developer or know anything about a hitbox in any fighter. Fighter games don't do anything for me, and honest. But that's what it seems like to me, is that they need to focus on really putting that brand back on the map. Will more platforms do that? Possibly. But if the game's not good, no one's going to care if it's on Xbox or Switch or PC or anything.
Yeah.
So to me, that's the biggest focus for Capcom. So maybe perhaps putting it on just one or two platforms and just getting the having that focus is going to bring them the success. But honestly, like the temperature in the room for Street Fighter right now is very, like, they're eager, but it seems like they're still very like questionable if this thing's actually gonna be good, or nervous really, because they didn't like Thick Boy Ken or his slanger, as the kids say. They did not like the logo because it looked like a paintball arena logo. Like, there are people like, are you straying away too far from God's grace? Like, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
So to me, that is the bigger problem.
As a classic
they
fan,
don't capture
Joe,
that essence.
I didn't like that punk kid that looked like he was going to beat down Ryu. I was like, who is this punk?
Yeah. So like, to me, it's, they got bigger issues than a one platform or the other. I think their big issue is they got to find this game's soul, really.
Yeah, and the question is, Joe, can they do that on one platform? That's really the question. Can they do that on one platform?
Sure, if they get that technique again, like, yeah, you could say like we're now hyper focused on this one thing. We don't have to worry about ports, or we don't have to contact people to port this over there. Like, and you could focus on that one thing, but like, we saw them focus on one platform before, did not work good for them.
Right.
So like, to me, I'm even like if I'm Sony, how, like,
do you spend the money on what could potentially be a fail?
Another dud?
Yeah.
But it also seems like PlayStation and Sony are very hyper focused on capturing this niche. They really want this sector to be theirs. So I think they're willing to pull out the red carpet for all of them.
Yeah, I mean, listen, makes perfect sense. But Joe, I because we are limited with time, I want to pose this question for you. This is a hypothetical question. This is where the acquisition conversation comes in. It has been confirmed that WB Games is looking to pawn off multiple studios, one of which has been confirmed. I saw the documentations. Now, things can change, but it looks like Mortal Kombat and NetherRealm Studios is one of them.
Yeah.
Microsoft again would find themselves in a position where there are certain times in gaming history that you look back and you either win or you lose. They won with Bethesda. They apparently are going to win with ABK. They absolutely took the giant L on Crystal Dynamics and Eidos Montreal. If NetherRealm Studios becomes available and the Mortal Kombat IP is not added to Xbox, I'm going to consider it to be another giant L. If Street Fighter stays as a PlayStation exclusive, and as very well could be the case, Microsoft is going to need more than than KI, in my opinion, because I'm a KI stan. But I think Mortal Kombat could be their answer. What are your thoughts?
I don't know the fighting community that well, so anybody could correct me if I'm wrong. It is going to be extremely difficult for them to, from what I understand, just because of outside looking in, Mortal Kombat's community is heavily on PlayStation. I don't know if ripping the rug under them is the best move, but it's neither here nor there. Do they have to buy NetherRealm? They don't have to do anything. They got all these amazing studios that they already have that they could just designate to someone and go, hey, we want to make a Super Smash Brothers clone. Let's do this, right? And they could throw that to anybody. NetherRealm is very compelling because you have I think, again, outside looking in, the best fighter developer working on what is a really great IP. The problem with the WB thing is what I alluded to a year and a half ago is they're trying to sell the way that they're trying to sell things is ridiculous. Nobody wants to do that. They want to
sell you studios, but they want to license you the IPs, which is not.
And why would anybody why would anybody do that? Why would any, because then all Microsoft has to do is we'll just poach Ed Boon. What? No, we want the IP too. We're not just buying the talent. We want your IP.
Can I interject real quick?
Sure. Yeah, please go for it.
NetherRealm is an exception. The IP is attached to the studio.
Exactly.
This was the contract done when Midway was bought. And then they became
wherever Boon goes, Mortal Kombat follows.
Yes.
Which is beautiful. But I'm looking at, because I think when people are looking at the Mortal Kombat rights, is it a universal right? What I mean by that is do they also have the movie rights? Because for example,
I don't believe they do, Joe.
Yeah, Konami owns Metal Gear Solid, but PlayStation owns the rights to put Metal Gear in a movie or to make a Metal Gear movie. So in the world of the metaverse, they want it all. WB looks at that movie rights and go, hey, that movie did pretty well on HBO. We want to keep this. And whoever's tugging back going, yeah, but we're not going to pay $1 billion, as I say, for this IP or for the studio if we don't have all the IP associated with the studio. That's their problem. So to me, it's how do we convince WB to let go of the movie and TV rights to their stuff? That's the big
money would be the contributing factor.
Even when you're trying to do mergers and acquisitions, even when you're Microsoft, you have a limit.
Yeah, sure.
So you're just you're looking at it, you're going if I'm Microsoft, I have to make I have to look good for my boss. I don't want to overpay for something because that's going to make me look bad. Mm-hmm. So there are politics at play here. We get it. Microsoft has the biggest bank account and they could throw money at anything, but they don't want to overpay on IP if they're not going to get that money back literally ASAP. So to me, that's what really matters. Whoever buys NetherRealms, I have no idea who's going to buy NetherRealms.
It really is up in the air, but it's
up in the air.
It's just one of those situations. I look back to BioWare before they were purchased by EA, and Microsoft had a shot to get them, and they didn't. And the storyboard has been written for BioWare.
Remember though, Boom, right now, from everything that we're hearing and everything we believe, Microsoft's hands are tied when it comes.
They're stuck. Yeah, they're
stuck
definitely
between
stuck.
a rock and a hard place, and I think that right there is a huge contributing factor to. They're leaving it up to chance right now.
Yeah, they really are. Interesting. Let's bring in one of the biggest Mortal Kombat professionals on the panel and get your opinion on this. Look, Crispy Bomb, look, we know that you love MK. You play with your girl, which is awesome, right? We know that you're heavily invested into the franchise, like you would be for Gears. Street Fighter 6, again, it's expected, but could go another way. We could be unbelievably surprised that, the show tonight comes on, Capcom throws out Street Fighter 6. It looks amazing. They show some gameplay. And then at some point, at that point, they're not going to tell us that it's coming to multiple consoles. Someone will report it. VGC, IGN, GameSpot, someone will be like, oh yeah, we reached out to Capcom and they say it's coming out multiple and whatever. And that's fine. And at least that people will be able to go take a sigh of relief. But But if it is exclusive, I'm a Mortal Kombat guy, but I'm a Street Fighter guy first. I'm gonna have to buy it on PlayStation. Is it my place to play? No, but I do have a 6-button stick that I paid a lot of money for. That's worth a lot of money for PlayStation and both Xbox. So for me, I don't really care. But if that winds up happening, where does where does Microsoft find themselves? Is NetherRealm a must?
Well, I want to tell you a quick story. Number one, Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat at one point, many years ago, were neck and neck. They were a constant battle of fighters. Now, you had your virtual fighters in there at some point, but they were always neck and neck. After Street Fighter 5 and then MKX and then into 11, Mortal Kombat just absolutely annihilated them. Okay, and that's quality, that's the whole spiel, and releasing on all consoles and even PC is extremely important because there are if it's a niche title, you need to have, as many gamers as possible with their eyes on it. And they release it in Game Pass, they do all these things, they still sell DLC, they still make money somehow. Okay, they bring in these guest characters, all these things, and the quality is there. You play as Joker, you feel like you're Joker. You know what I'm saying? It is
on, baby.
You know what I'm saying? And you got to remember, I mean, MK11, I have not played a more Mortal Kombat than I have since MK11 came out. I have over 2,000 matches in me. Okay. And that's insane. That's against people, by the way. And I just play people. That's all I do. I want to learn the characters on the fly. I pick random. I just enjoy like everything they've done with this. If it's exclusive, and you're probably not going to find out until after the show, unless it says, PS5 exclusive on there. And then we'll be like, oh, well, that's what it is. It will be dead to me. I'm sorry. I mean, Street Fighter will be done. Like, I'm used to what I play on. And, that's especially fighters because they're so competitive. I'm going to play where I want to play. If somebody wants to play on PC, I play people on PC. I play people on PlayStation, through MK. So you don't know who you're playing unless it's got that PC thing there. Now, right. One thing I'll say is, I went, we went on our anniversary. My girl brings me to this amazing place. It's called Gamecraft Beer and Arcade. And 21 and older, there are no little kids running around. It's you in that game. And what do I find there? But the granddaddy, Marvel versus Capcom 2. My God. I sat there for a good hour. My girl's like, "Are you done yet? Like, I want to play you." And I'm like, "Babe, like, I'm running up the leaderboard here." Like, and I ended up 7th after not playing this game for 20 years. Okay, and I was like, "Man, I wish we could get this again." You know what I'm saying? So that's where I go and say, like, Street Fighter. I mean, Capcom, please, for the love of God, do yourselves a favor and release this multiplayer. Going on to the NetherRealm thing. Xbox, if this is the case, if Street Fighter is exclusive once again, Xbox needs to purchase NetherRealm, and it may be just that alone, just to make sure that it's not exclusive anywhere else. And I say that because if you have that at some point, if Sony somehow pulls out the money, you know what I'm saying, and that happens, that is devastating. Yeah, because they're
they take over the fighting market. They will literally be like Microsoft is known as Western RPG kings and queens right now because of all of the developers they have. If that winds up happening, Sony would literally corner the market in fighters.
Okay, and then you think about it this way, okay? Like a lot of people are like, oh, then it's going to be Mortal Kombat 12 is going to be exclusive. I say no. I'd say the Mortal Kombat IP would be multi-plat until it's done. Okay. The like KI versus Mortal Kombat, stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? That will be exclusive, and that'll be done by NetherRealm because who else are you going to have do it? So, I mean, I plead to Xbox, if this is the case, find a way. Say, we're going to pay you 3 times the amount, than you even want, as long as you wait for us to finish this deal. You know what I'm saying? And then they wait because Ed Boon, I mean, Xbox and NetherRealm and WB, they have a pretty good relationship. You know what I'm saying? It's there. The relationship's there. MKX and 11 are in Game Pass. So you look at that and you say there's a relationship there. So why not stick with it? And you know, it might be a stipulation. All Mortal Kombats, that IP alone, are multiplat until the end of time, and I would be fine with that. I have no problem with that. And that's something
I think
that
Microsoft would do exactly what you're saying. I think they would leave it multi-plat, but again,
I think whoever buys them would leave it multi-plat. You'd be there's so much money you're leaving on that table.
Indeed,
that is true. Yeah. So I mean, that's out of necessity, and just like I said, because you never know with Sony, they could pull that move. They could be like, oh, it's only on PlayStation and PC. You know what I'm saying? They could do that. I mean, we highly agree that, because if they're going to do that with Street Fighter, which once again they've already done once, they could do that again, and you know, they could do that if they purchase that IP. So I don't know, like I just Xbox, like this is the one. Like I know, like a lot of people are mad about Crystal Dynamics. You got to, if this is possible, you need to do it. You know what I'm saying? That's all I got to say.
No, great point. John Wolf, let's bring you in on the conversation. And just to give people an update of recently, about a month and a half ago, Ed Boon was interviewed. And he says, listen, Mortal Kombat 12, we're obviously working on, but that's not our next game. Our next game is a game that is a game that we've never done before. And he finishes by saying, if I say anything more, I'm going to get in trouble.
Yeah.
I immediately took that as, well, they're making Killer Instinct. That's what I took. Now, is that true? I don't know. But that is something that we know that's going on. That proves to exactly Crispy's point that there is a relationship with Ed Boon. I mean, he's been saying he wants to do MK versus KI since forever, 7+ years ago. And Phil Spencer even answered him publicly and said, "I love that idea." So, Phil,
dude, I would literally faint if Ed Boon comes out during that showcase and just announces MK versus KI. I'll just faint right there, Boom. I ain't gonna lie to you. I think that the elephant in the room that I haven't heard anyone mention is Evo. Okay, and I think that Sony being
they own it.
They own it, exactly. Yeah. And what is the main event title? It's Street Fighter.
It's Street Fighter, indeed.
Okay, so I would think that, you know, business perspective here, I would think that Sony, if they more than likely threw down the money to make Street Fighter exclusive again. I'm not gonna lie to you, I wouldn't be surprised if they do show it this afternoon, that they reveal that, which would be huge for them and a great business move, right? The thing is that what killed Street Fighter 5 for me personally wasn't that it was exclusive to PlayStation, because I had an opportunity to play it on PC as well, or I also purchased it on PS4, but it was the fact that it was a struggling Capcom that released this title with and Sony took advantage, you know, and they released it kind of with the Killer Instinct business model, where we're going to start releasing characters little by little. And if Street Fighter wants to really be back up there, they need to release it. They need to release the game with a full roster, man. You know, they at least for me
100%.
personally, that, you know, to bring out Akuma and all these characters like years after, it just kills the hype right from the beginning, right? So I think that, you know, if they release Street Fighter 6, they have a good solid roster. Obviously, they're going to have DLC characters down the line, because that's how you monetize these fighting games. So that's a business practice already that we're used to. I think that they can have a big success on their hands right now. To answer the question with NetherRealm, and I just feel, Boom, that if Xbox could do it, they would have already done it. You know, I just feel like if they really have their hands tied with this Activision deal, I think that that's what kept them from being in the same room as the Crystal Dynamics deal. And I think that potentially it could keep them from being in the NetherRealm talks as well. If WB or in Discovery decide to part ways with NetherRealm this year, if somebody comes knocking, like an Amazon or a Google or even a Sony, you know, and they offer something that's too good to be true, that Mortal Kombat might be exclusive on the PlayStation brand. I'm not gonna lie to you. I can see that happening, or Amazon might take it, or Google might take it. Somebody may take it, because to everybody's credit that just said it, MK has surpassed, at least in the fighting genre, it has surpassed everyone else, because not only do you get a solid fighter, but you also get cinematics like no other game. Street Fighter, the story mode, you can't even compare it to what Mortal Kombat offers. Okay, and those characters are all iconic now. The movie made big money. Okay, so I think that it is a great pickup if anyone is able to get it. And the last thing I'll say is, honestly, look, Street Fighter 4, Street Fighter is big, guys. It's big in the fighting community, because Street Fighter 4, it brought back the fighting game genre. The fighting game genre was dead before Street Fighter 4 hit. And when Street Fighter 4 hit, man, it just lit.
It brought it back in a big way. Yeah, you saw Soul Calibur come back in a big way. Tekken came back in a big way.
Yes, sir.
Blaze Blue found an audience. Obviously, Guilty Gear, which we know is, and that's another studio that Sony's potentially rumored to be purchasing. The makers of Blaze Blue and Guilty Gear, and just imagine it would be something.
I think that Sony, from a business perspective, I gotta tip my hat to them. They're really cornering the fighter market, and they're making it seem as though if you don't have a PlayStation and you're a fighting game fan, you're gonna be missing out. And you're not where you need to be to play all these games. And I think that that's a good business move by them and by Jim Ryan. I tip my hat on for them. But we'll find out this afternoon. Boom. It's all speculation until we see what comes out of it this afternoon. But I don't think that you're wrong. I think that if come 5 p.m. Eastern today, they show Street Fighter 6 and it says it's exclusive, if Microsoft has any chance at all of not disrupting the deal with Activision, I would think that it is in their best interest to do something and act.
Well, Hogue Law said that and again, it's Hogue Law, which I would have loved to have him on the show, but he's super busy. Says that Microsoft can in fact purchase a studio or two. And it would not cause any ruffles or ramifications for the ABK deal. Again, they're being very quiet for a lot of reasons. The ABK deal, incredibly important. But real quick, Kirby Zero Louise drops an additional $5 super chat and says, Sony could corner the market in fighting games. No, just no. Unless they have Smash Brothers, you do not have the fighting game market cornered. Yeah, you know what? I hear you. You're 1,000%. Smash Brothers is the pinnacle of fighters. But we also know that they're not making one anytime soon, even though the one that they just added Sora as the last character last year. I mean, yes, but still, it's one game, as opposed to if you look at what we're talking about. Mortal Kombat being first party for Sony, getting exclusive Street Fighter, potentially buying who makes Guilty Gear and Blaze Blue, Joe? Arc System Works.
Yeah,
yes, that is correct. Thank you for that. And that's rumored. You know what? That Arc System Works is a Sony move. It's not a big studio. They've been working with them for years. It's exactly,
those games are incredible.
Their games are unbelievably incredible. So it would be a daunting task for Microsoft, who bought by the way, Smash GG, which does online shooters, but they also do online fighters. And to have all of these fighters go to one side, it would be a huge mistake. Keeping Mortal Kombat a part of Xbox Game Studios, or more importantly, NetherRealm, is in my opinion important. But Web Dave, let's get your opinion on this, brother. What are your personal thoughts on this, man? Where does the importance of NetherRealm potentially becoming first party if Street Fighter is locked again behind the Sony PlayStation 5?
If it's locked up, I say it's a definite that they need to go after it, because they would definitely continue to make their great product. Plus, like you said before, him and Phil, they're kind of buddies, and that would make a really nice Killer Instinct, maybe a Killer Instinct, versus Mortal Kombat. That'd be great. So, to me, I think it's a no-brainer if if the other is locked down. So did you get that super chat from Jacob Novak?
You know what? Let me pull that up right now. Yeah, Jacob Novak, a good friend of the program. He drops a $5 super chat and says, "My final E3 Xbox list, Stalker 2. The devs stated that they have no plan. Hold on a second. They have no plans for a P's release for now. Deathloop, Banjo reboot, Mando MMO, Indiana Jones. I love all the picks.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
And Drawn TJ drops an additional $5 super chat and says, to go get NetherRealm, Rocksteady. I still want them to get EA. EA is never going to come to Xbox.
No, never.
I don't
Nice.
think so. But again, no one thought Activision was coming to
true.
Xbox.
That's true. Very true.
Know.
All I know is Ed Boon walks out on June 12th. The man tears will start dripping out of my face.
I'm going to be on the Iron Lord podcast traditional this Sunday, where they're going to have their traditional, prediction show. Tune in to my ridiculous prediction, and I put it this way: it is so crazy town, right? I went to Crazy Town to get this. I had my latte, was hanging out over there. I was like, man, Crazy Town, starting to get to me, but I got to bring this back from Crazy Town. So tune in, because last year's Crazy Town pick was, which of course I was wrong again, a Splinter Cell. Lights go out. We got one more thing. Comes up and it's the three goggles and everyone goes crazy and they just walk off the stage. They just dropped it on the table. Everyone got scared. They were like, you know what? I'm not messing with that dude. Right? That's what happened.
There you go.
Yes, there you go. There's the noise. And I have an even crazier one that involves. You know what? I'm not going to ruin it. Just tune into the Iron Lords podcast 1 p.m. this Sunday. It is Crazy Town good. I can't wait to be on that show. But listen, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to be your Thursday special edition episode of the of Breakfast with Boom. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. We had well over 350 people here. If you are still here, and there's 350 people still here, I see it on my screen. Please consider hitting the like button. If you're new to the channel, if you're just finding the channel, I saw a bunch of new names in here. Please consider subscribing. The goal for this year was to hit 10K, and we did that in January on the Iron Lords podcast, as a matter of fact. And we're trying to, Mrs. Boom and I would love to hit 12. 12K is the goal for the remainder of 2022, and we're close, folks. We are 1,200 plus subs away from that goal. And if you can make that possible, a little over, closer to 1,300 subs, we're short. And I think that we can pull it off. But again, that requires anyone that's finding the channel for the first time to consider subscribing. So if you can, and you want to hit the subscribe button, hit the bell so you are notified of the 4 live shows I do weekly. And of course, please hit the like button on the way out. Let's get to the outros. Mr. Badbit, sell your brand, brother. Tell them about the best PlayStation show on YouTube and on the RSS feeds. Talk about the trophy room, where you and your best friend Kyle talk about the greatest and latest in PlayStation news. And also, where can people reach out to you on social media?
Oh, Joe, are you muted?
Mute?
Oh, you're muted.
You're muted, brother.
Did half the thing muted. Gosh darn it, unprofessional.
The Sonic slander got you.
Yeah, it was. It did. It got to me. It got to me in a bad way. No, you can find me over at Mr. Badbit on Twitter. You can find my show, The Trophy Room, a PlayStation podcast, where each and every, usually Thursday, me and my best friend Kyle talk about the latest and greatest in all things PlayStation. We had our State of Play prediction episode literally drop on Tuesday, which is doing phenomenal. Thank you all so much for checking that out. Nice. And you can check out our stream, our live reactions to the third party and PSVR State of Play at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time over at twitch.tv/PS Trophy Room. We're annoying everybody on social media to let everybody know that they need to be a part of it. We're really excited. It's going to be a fun time. So make sure you check out the stream and check out the show, The Trophy Room, a PlayStation podcast, wherever you find your podcast service of choice. We're there.
Definitely appreciate that, brother, and thank you for being here as always.
Thank you for having me, man. It's always a fun time.
Yeah, and we'll have you back next week as well, as a matter of fact, because you're on vacation for 2 weeks, so that's awesome.
Oh yeah, it's nice.
Crispy Bomb, what's going on, brother? Tell everyone where they can check you out on other programs, but more importantly, where can people reach out to you on social media?
Always a pleasure, gentlemen. The blasphemy from Bad Bit, it's okay. You don't like Sonic, it's all right. We still love you. At Crispy Bomb, at Crispy Bomb on Twitter, Crispy Bomb 28 Xbox Live. You can find me tonight, 8 p.m. The next podcast. We got Retro Renegade 7 p.m. Tuesday night, and of course on Primetime Gaming 7 p.m. Wednesdays. We'll see you then.
Brother, thank you so much for being here. Next up, John Wolf, sell your brand, brother. Tell them about your incredible YouTube channel and where can people reach out to you on social media.
Yeah, for sure. It was a pleasure. I was having a lot of fun reading the chat today. Boom, great show as always, gentlemen. Hit me up. Boom linked my Twitter down below where you can hit me up on social media, Xbox, PlayStation, as well as check out my YouTube channel where when I finally hit 400 subs, I'm gonna get a tattoo of Chunky Sonic. All right.
I love it. That's great.
No, but seriously, though, thank you all so much.
I have 399 alternative accounts. We're making this happen today.
I'll get Chunky Sonic right on the chest. You know what I'm saying?
I was going to say right on your ass, but you know what?
Right on my right ass cheek.
There you go.
No, but seriously, guys, it's been a pleasure. Thanks for the laughs and the conversation, guys. I really enjoyed doing this with you guys. And until the next one, everybody in the chat, have a great weekend. I hope you guys get to play a lot of games and try out Diablo Immortal. Boom. Just try it out, brother. Trust me, it's a great time. I was up at 4 o'clock in the morning today. I had to get some stuff done for work, and then I quickly jumped on, and like 2 hours passed. It's a great game.
Yeah. No, it looks fantastic. I've been seeing Jez Corden been posting on it like a madman. Looks really, really good. But you know, again, I don't want to like it because I don't want to like it until it comes to a console near me. So me and Mrs. Boom could get down with it. But Fuzzy Belvedere, sell your brand, brother. Tell them about the best place and the top place for all your racing questions and opinions. And more importantly, where can people reach out to you on social media?
Well, just want to thank you for having me on here. Want to thank the panel, man. You guys were awesome. Even with Mr. Badbit's bad takes on Sonic, it's all good. But no, well, it was fun, and it was great with the having interaction with the people in the chat. For anybody that wants to hear my ramblings on anything racing related or gaming in general, just follow me on Twitter at Fuzzy_Belvedere. My YouTube channel, just search for Fuzzy_Belvedere. You'll see a lot of replays, more so GT7 stuff now than Forza, but you know, fingers crossed we get Motorsport here later this year. But greatly appreciate everybody coming out today. Make sure you hit that like button before you go.
Definitely. Thank you very much for that. And Web Dave, sell your brand, brother. Tell them about the best place for one-on-one interviews. Tell them about your website. And more importantly, where can people reach out to you on social media?
Thanks for having me on, Boom. I really appreciate it. Sorry I wasn't on camera today, but it wasn't pretty over here. That's all I can say. Man. Let's see. Where can you find me? That's a good question. I think the medication is kicking in, Boom.
I was going to say,
more painkillers. Let's go.
Yeah, pass that over. Pass some of those over here.
The links down below in Boom's thing. We'll just make that easy. I do have a really good interview that came out this week with Gaming Forte. It is a very fascinating.
Yeah, he's a good dude. Please. Great dude. Great community member.
And some more new ones coming up and more in the can. But I got coming next week. We have Tony from the Plume Network. Nice. If everybody has heard of him, but he's actually very interesting and big fan of Booms. I'll tell you that.
Oh,
and
nice.
Also Doom Cutie is going to be interviewed the week after. So check that out.
Excellent. Good stuff. Obviously, yeah, head over to Web Dave's. For fact, if you want to subscribe to everyone, and you should, all you got to do is go and wait for this show to drop up on video on demand, and everyone's links are there. All you have to do is 2 clicks. Click the name, click their and sub their channel, and of course, follow them on Twitter. Of course, thank you so much for making this another successful Breakfast with Boom. Definitely appreciate everyone coming out and supporting us on the 2-day changes that we had to do. Next week, we'll be back on Fridays as always, but the last 2 Fridays have been, I had family over and I got to take my truck in for service. And again, I'm going to be stuck there all day because as you know, with bringing stuff to the dealer. But listen, thank you so much for the super chats. There's been quite a few of them today. And obviously those power the show. They help me get new equipment, which I have right here. I have a new light that I'm going to put together to better, illuminate Mr. BoomStick XL while I'm on camera. And of course, they power the giveaways. We can't do the giveaways without channel membership, without, of course, super chats. And that's what we do. We put the money right back into the channel once, they, and I say they, Google takes their 30%, which is what they take. But listen, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being here once again. I'm going to close out the show with something that I always do, and hopefully one day it'll be important to you. And that's something that my dad taught me when we were kids, and he used to say, Craig, treat others how you want to be treated, and also it doesn't cost anything to be nice. You live by those rules, son. I can guarantee you're going to have an awesome day. So take care, everyone. We'll see you next week on the newest episode of Breakfast with Boom.
Later.